Good morning students, welcome back to the next session of compiler construction. Well, today we are going to start the next unit, that is third unit. This unit is completely deal on the concept of bottom-up parsing. As we have already learned in the last unit regarding top-down parsing. So first, basically, as everyone knows, what is meant by parsing process. The parsing process basically is you will be getting a set of tokens as an input, and using that tokens it will going to be generate a parse trees. So this parsing process is of two types, top down parsing and bottom up parsing. So in the last unit we have already covered regarding top down parsing, and we have seen that what are the methods by which top down parsing can be approached. So well, today for this unit completely we will be discussing on bottom up parsing. So this bottom-up parsing and top-down parsing I already discussed previously, but let us just revise the concept of top-down and bottom-up parsing. See, top-down, see here, whenever if you see in the grammar we have set of productions, right? What we have? A set of productions. So this set of productions are constitutes to be a grammar. Now what happened, using the set of productions, using the grammar and using the help of tokens, we are going to generate a parse tree. So well, in the top down parsing we have seen that using that means it will be going to approach through top to bottom, top down. What is that? It starts with the start symbol and it reaches to the last step where you are going to get the string what you want to, the string which satisfies with that will be performed with the help of this set of productions. So it will starts with the start of symbol and it ends when there will be no particular productions left in order to generate a string. That means if you have a string successfully generated at the end of the step, at the last step, this is what about your top down parsing. But bottom up parsing, let's comes to bottom up parsing. See, this is quite different. It is exactly in opposite direction. What you have to take here is that in bottom up parsing you have to start with the bottom level. That means you have to start with the string. Okay, with the help of the string you have to go towards the start symbol. Okay, you have to go toward the, let us assume the start symbol is S, right? So you have to go toward the start symbol S, and in this, and if you reach the last step, if you will get as the start symbol S, that means the following string or the following expression is satisfying the set of productions. For that given string you can generate parse tree. So this is regarding bottom up parse. That means what you are going to do here is that you will be starting from the lowest. You will be starting from the actual string, and you have to prove that you are getting to be in a state that you can able to get the start symbol S. Okay, so in that sense this bottom up parsing will execute. So well, this for bottom up parsing what we require is regarding, we will be requiring a stack here. Okay, we will be requiring a stack, and using this stack, that means the end of the stack should be a start symbol. Okay, so now in this unit completely we will be discussing on bottom up parsing. So like today we will be going to see about the overview of bottom up parsing, and the next coming classes we will be seeing the remaining concepts on bottom up parsing. Like as we have did in the second unit regarding top down parsing, is that we have seen LL1 parsing, recursive descent parsing. In the same way here we will be going to discuss different kinds of parsing methods, and at the end we will be discussing the error recoveries. What are the error recovery strategies that are being adopted in bottom up parsers? Okay, so this is how we are going to approach for our third unit. Now the first topic is about overview of bottom up parsing. So in this overview we will be discussing how in general bottom up parsing has to be executed. So we will be taking some examples here, and using that example I'll try to show you that how this bottom up parser will be executing. Okay, so first I said you that it uses a stack, so that's why I said you that always a bottom up parses uses explicit stack. So what is the role of stack here? the stack is used to perform a parsing process. I mean, what happens is that there will be like using the stack, as you know that the role of stack, right? What is the procedure of the stack and how the stack performs. So as I said you just now, regarding that, at the end of this bottom up parsing, you will be going to achieve a start symbol. So here in the stack only, you will be going to get the start symbol. For example, if my start symbol is S here, so I'll be going to get the stack. I'll be going to get the start symbol S at the end of the stack, at the last of the stack, last step of the stack. Okay. So now what this parsing stack contains, so this stack actually contains what it accepts. Okay, so it can accept any set of tokens whatever that are being taken in the grammar. It can accept the non-terminals as well as any particular state information which may require. It also contains all of these types of content. Okay, so basically what you can say is that you can say that it is a collection of terminals as well as collection of non-terminals, right? So what happens initially the stack will be an empty one. Okay, at the beginning of the bottom up parsing, the stack will be an empty one which is to be get noded, and it will contain, this is very important point which I just now I said many times, that it contains start symbol and the end of successful parse. That means if you are getting start symbol at the end, that means it is successfully performing parsing process. But if you won't get the start symbol at the end, then you can say that the parser is not successfully performing. I mean, the string is not satisfying for the given grammar. Okay, so that is how it means for that. Now we will be seeing and discuss that how this bottom up parsing performs. So let us, this is you consider as a stack. Okay, and I just taken a stack as dollar in to represent I'm representing it with a symbol. So I'm just taking, this is an empty stack, dollar represent that this is an empty stack. So this is the part of stack. Okay, and at the end of all the steps, these are the number of steps, finally what you will get as a start symbol. Okay, this is my stack, and at the same time you will be having an input string. Okay, so for the first step, whenever the stack will be empty, here in the input string, so the string will be there and here dollar will be there. So what happened for the input string portion, at the end there won't be any symbol representing present in the input string. That means this will become empty now. Step by step it will be get reduces. Why? Because this stack, when it satisfies, the string get reduces and finally the input string will be become empty. Okay, so this input string will be on the center. Okay, so the first one will be the empty stack and the input string will be there, this is at the center, and the third one will be the action. Okay, I mean what actions you are performing for each step. What do you mean by that? This actions represents, actually these actions are represented, there are two actions which are represented. So the first action which represents as shift action. Okay, and the second action represents as reduce action. So first we will see what is meant by shift action. Shift action means, for example, if any string, if any variable is there in the given string, if I want to shift to an stack, then I am performing which action? Shift action. Which action I am performing? Shift action. And what happens is that reduce is the another action. Reducing means, for example, like here if I'm taking S is equals to AA, right? This is my one production. Okay, so what happens is that in the stack, if I get the symbol as AA and if I perform reduce operation, so reduce operation will go, what this reduce operation will make, that it will replace small a capital A with S. Okay, so it replaces, because it reduces a set of terminals, non-terminals with only non-terminal, because this is your non-terminal and this is your terminal as well as a non-terminal. That means it will convert right hand side of a production into left hand side. What is the role of reduce? it will convert right hand side of production into left hand side, because in left hand side always in a grammar you will be having a single symbol, right? That is a non-terminal, because our intention is that we have to reach to the start symbol. Okay, our intention is that to have to reach to the start symbol at the end, and if we are reaching, then that shows that the grammar is satisfying with the given string and it is successfully performing parsing process. So that's why it performs two actions, shift and reduce, and apart from that, it normally in general way it perform another action as well, that is accept. Accept means whatever the things, whatever the input is required, whenever it accepts, simply it accepts, but the main actions what it performs is shift and reduce. Shift means the value from the string it shift to the stack, that is what your shift to operation. Reduce means just now I said you this is about reduce operation. So that's why there are two operations, two actions that has to be performed here. So that is why bottom-up parser is sometimes called as shift reduce parser. Don't get confused even in examination as well, because they may ask you explain about shift reduce parser. Instead they may instead if they not ask you about bottom-up parser, they may ask you about shift reduce parser. So it means the same thing here. What is that thing is that it is just a bottom-up parser, because the bottom-up parser perform mainly two actions, that is shift and reduce. That's why it is sometimes called as shift reduce parser. Okay, so that is the slide refers to that what this bottom-up parser performs. Okay, besides accept means accept is something like to accept the terminal non-terminal, right, in this case. But the main thing is what the first is shift operation. Shift means a terminal from the front of the input to the top of the stack, where it performs. That is also interesting thing here. For example, here a plus b dollar is there. So what is the front here? A. So it takes a here and it goes to the top of the stack. For example, here dollar contains some values here. S is there. So now, for example, already it contains S. If I'll take SB here, let us assume someday here. So now this B is at the top of a stack, remember, because stack is something where the operation has to be performed at the top of the stack only, right? So here also the shifting operation will be taken from the front of the string. What is the front of the string? A. And it goes to the top of the stack. So now here initially in this case, what is the top of the stack? The B is the top of stack. But what happens? Now A becomes at the top of stack after performing shift operation. Okay, so that is why it means that from the front of the input to the top of the stack. That is how, because either the insertion or deletion that has to be performed at the top of the stack only. The next comes to reduce. Just now I said you that how the reduce is going to perform. For example, if there is an alpha symbol which is present over here, right? Here if it is present something like dollar alpha, right? This dollar alpha is present at the where? Stack. So if I perform reduce operation, and you know there is a production called as A extends to alpha, then this reduce, because of this reduce operation, here it converts into A. Just now I said with another example, but now I am saying with this example. So reduce operation means what we are doing is that we are making the top of the stack to a non-terminal A. Now, for example, this is my terminal, alpha is my terminal, but A is what? Non-terminal. So that is how I am performing reduce operation as a non-terminal. Okay. That's why this shift and reduce operation is there. And one more thing which I want to mention over here is that the bottom-up parser uses augmented grammar. What do you mean by augmented grammar? Augmented grammar means, for example, there is a grammar called S of SA, A is there, or A means B is there. So this is my grammar. Now if I want to make this as an augmented grammar, how should I should make as S dash of S. That means the start symbol will not be this symbol, instead the start symbol will become as S dash. Okay, augmented grammar means replacing the start symbol with another start symbol. The same name will be there, only the difference is S dash. So here we are doing this one, so that are always augmented with a new start symbol. Okay, so new start symbol, that means, for example, in an examination, if they have given you in this case, then you have to take one production as an augmented grammar. But if they have given in this case, then there is no need. So it all depends on the grammar, how they may ask you or how you have to proceed for it. So that's why augmented grammar is in this way. So this is already you learn augmented grammar, right? So you know augmented grammar is like this. So you have to take always the start symbol. This is actually your original start symbol S, but now this start symbol S has been replaced by new start symbol S dash, right? So in this way that has to be executed. Now we are going to take one example here. So this is my augmented grammar. So the example one here, why I augmented grammar? Because the start symbol is S, but it has been taken with a new start symbol S dash. So this is my augmented grammar. Now this is my a set of production. S dash extends to S, and S of S or epsilon. Now for this I have to implement a bottom-up parser for the given string, balanced parenthesis. What you can term this as? Balanced parenthesis. They may ask you in this way, or else they may ask you in this way. Balanced parenthesis means you have to think in this way only. So for this we need to check whether this balanced parenthesis is satisfying the given augmented grammar or not using bottom-up parser. So as I said you, there are three things which we have to take. Is that the first thing is that always we need to take a parsing stack which is initially empty. That's why we just taken as dollar here. And there is another portion which is called an input string. What is the input string? Is balanced parenthesis. So I have taken balanced parenthesis along with dollar here. Now the third thing is about action. So in action it performs usually shift or reduce. Now first thing is that, as you know, nothing is there in the given stack. Simply first I have to perform shift operation. So in the first step I am using shift action. So what the shift means? I said you, shift means it takes the front of the input. What is the front of the input? Opening parenthesis. It will take as the top of stack. So now this has become as the top of stack here. Okay. After that, what happens is that, because opening parenthesis, so it expects something else, right? So it expects something else, that there should be some value here. But you know, here what happens, there is no such value. So that means you can use epsilon, right? Because epsilon is means for null. It represents for null. So that's why I'm using reduce operation. What I'm using? Reduce operation. Nothing is there means epsilon. So for epsilon, can I put yes? Yes, I can use this one, because here two productions are there, S of SS and next is S of epsilon. So I'm using this epsilon here. So reduce, because this is what I'm doing is it reduce operation. What is the role of reduce? It converts into a non-terminal. So S is my non-terminal, right? So now what happens? S has been taken in the parsing stack. So S is at the top of stack, right? Now as you know, S is there, so I can perform shift operation, right? I can perform shift operation. So what happens? Shift operation means, so this, what is the front here? This one. So it will be taken here also. So shift means just I'm taking at the top of stack. So this is how the top of stack here. Now what happens is that now nothing is there here. Nothing is there here. But one more thing what I want to say is that there is no such uh, substring, okay, there is no such substring which is present as a grammar called s of s, okay. So there is no such. So what we have to do is that it perform reduce operation because empty na, so you can take again this one. So I'm using again here reduce. So because of this reduce, again it comes to s here. So now when it comes to s, so it will fetches for the given given what you say, that non-terminal. So this will be performed now. What is this? S of s. S extends to s in brackets, then s. So I'm using this reduce operation, and finally I'm getting this s, right? But this is this s my is the start symbol? No, the actual start symbol is s dash. So again I have to use this production. What is that? S dash of s. What is that? S dash of s. As when I use s dash of s, so again it reduces s dash of s, and finally I'm getting s dash here. When I'm getting s dash here, and when there is no input string here, okay, so what I can show is that accept, which is my action that has, this will be performed, this accept, because ultimately shift reduce actions has to be performed, and the next thing is about accept. Accept is what the string has to be, I mean like whether this has been satisfied or not. If you are getting at the start symbol here, at the end what you are getting, this is my start symbol, and here it is empty. So simply I can use an action here, an action accept. So this is how I have performed bottom up parsing. So what difference you have found out that you have taken initially the input string, and you are getting down, I mean you are getting top, bottom up, right? You are going to up to the start symbol s dash, okay. So in this way what you are going to perform is bottom up parser. Next example, if you see, there is another example. Again I'm taking augmented grammar. So this is my augmented grammar. What is it? E dash of e, and e of e plus n or n. Here there is no epsilon, that means there is no nullability, right? So there is a string called n plus n. Now I have to check whether this given string is using this grammar, which are using the given grammar. What is this? This two productions is satisfying or not. So that's why initially this is my empty stack. That's why I'm taken dollar here, and here the string is n plus n dollar, right? So first action always has to perform as shift. So when I'm shifting, what is the front of the input? N. So I'm making as the top of stack n here, right? Now n is there, so you know there are two productions here. What is that? E is equals to e plus n or e of n. E extends to n. So you know whenever you n you have to get, so you should not go, you should not wait for another one, right? You directly you can go with e here. So what I'm doing is I'm using reduce operation. So this reduce operation, what it will do, it converts non-terminal into terminal. So n is a non-terminal. What is the terminal here? E is the terminal, okay. E is the terminal, okay, sorry, E is the non-terminal, because here this is my terminal, n is terminal and E is a non-terminal, so I'm converting into non-terminal E, right? So what I'm going to do is, now what is the symbol? Next symbol is there, plus is there, okay. So what should I do now? Actually here it should, plus has to be written here, okay, plus has to be written here. So plus n, again shift I am performing means, so this plus will be taken here. So finally what I have given as e plus, and again I am performing shifting operation. So using this shift operation here, what happens here? N should be there. So here n means it should be e plus n, right? So I got what? E plus n here. So when I'm getting e plus n here, now I know E plus N, I can use this production, right? So using this E plus N production, I can reduce it to E. I can reduce it to E. So I'm using reduce action so that this E plus N will become as E now. And this E is at the top of stack. E is at the top of stack. And finally, I can use this production E dash of E. So using reduce operation, what is that? E dash of E. What I'm doing is that finally I'll get the start symbol E dash. So when I'm getting the start symbol E dash, and finally in the input nothing is there here, and the following action I can take is accept that. As you know, you are getting the start symbol E dash and there is no input left over here, so simply the action is about that it has to be get accepted. So in this way, what we have to take is, you can take bottom up parser for the given string. Okay, remember what we have taken is augmented grammar. Now what we have to consider is that handle of the right sentential form. Handle is, for example, like here, if you see E plus N or N, you have to think that you have to decide either you have to take this one or else this one. For example, here N is there, so you have to think that N means is there any possibility that there should be E plus N or not, or directly through N I can perform reduce action so that I can go with directly to E. So that is what important here is that whenever at the right sentential form, the handle of the right sentential form is about the string. Okay, that we have to consider, you have to more concentrate on the string and the position in the right sentential form where it occurs. Okay, and also the production which is used to reduce it. Here I said you which production I'm using to reduce it. So I'm using, for example, if I'm using this production, E extends to N, E extends to E plus N, E dash of N, E. So I'm using this production to perform reduce operation. So exactly correct production has to be chosen in order to perform reduce action. Okay, that is more important here, because of that only you can determine the next handle is the main task of the shift reduce parser. Okay, that means here next handle means, for example, if you go with these two things, E plus N or N. So first thing is that which production, either this production is to be taken first, either this production is to be taken first. You have to determine it first, because if you determine that you are taking this as first, then after that, after taking this one, what production has to be taken, either this one or this one. So that is more important thing here, is that which production is to be taken, that has to be predetermined. So then only you will get a proper order, or else you won't get a proper order, and it becomes like you cannot get the proper result, a desired result. That's more important here. So that's why determination of the next handle is something like a substring. Okay, this is my substring E plus N, or else E extends to N is a substring. So this is my handle. So determining the handle is most important here, and that has to be taken into consideration in order to know what can be the next handle has to be determined. That's what the role of shift reduce parser, because we have seen just simple examples, but still in simple example we should be in a position like we are able to determine that what type of production has to be taken here and what type of production has not to be taken at that particular step. That is more important here. So that's why what we have to take into consideration is that the string of a handle forms, okay, it's a right hand side of a one production. That means the right hand side position of the handle is at the top of stack. Okay, that is only I said you just now, right? So this is your right hand side, right? So here E plus N is there. So when you have to take reduce operation, for example, here N is there, and here this N is there, and here at the top of stack this N is there. Then only we need to use a reduce operation. Okay, these are something which we need to know. Of course we have understood, but this thing has to be has to be get aware, right? And also if you say in this case e plus n is there, and e plus n, like you got the right hand side of the production. What is the right hand side of the production? E plus n. When e plus n you are getting at the stack, then only you should think to perform reduce operation. Okay, so the rightmost position of the handle string is at the top of stack. Rightmost position, what is meant by rightmost position? Rightmost position is, for example, here n is there. Okay, here n is there, so n means here this is my rightmost part. Okay, what is this? This is my rightmost part. And in e plus n also, what is my rightmost part? N. So here n is there or not. Similarly, in this previous example also, for example, here if you see this part, S is the rightmost part of the production of this one. Okay, that has to be get considered always. And one more thing is that to be a handle, it is not enough for the string to the top of the stack to match at the right hand side. And we cannot say just simply that, oh right, we got S here, we got S here, so here the S is also at there, simply I can take. No, we have to consider complete substring should be there, then only we can think that this is my, so that I should select S here for the reduction process. Okay, that means simply if I get a single rightmost symbol, I mean like if you say that S is there, so because of S, so here if I take just only S, then there is an ambiguity. If I think only S, then it can be either S dash or it can be S as well. But what I have to go, I have to go again for the next variable, next position, what is that? Closing bracket, then S is there, then opening bracket, so that I can get to a conclusion that I can perform reduce operation this one. If only S is there, then I can use this one. So that's why it all depends on the situation, and it depends on the example here. So that's why it is not at all enough. It is not at all enough for the string to at the top of stack to match the right hand side. Just by seeing the top of the stack will not helpful to match the right hand side of production. Instead you have to see the complete production from the top of the stacks to the next positions, so that if it completely matches, then only you need to consider the right hand side of the production. Okay, and if suppose an epsilon production is available for production, as we have seen already in this one, right, in the first example we have seen this epsilon production. Why epsilon production we have taken? Because if nothing is there in the passing stack here, only the opening bracket is there, so there is no such symbol is being used which determines either this part, so you need to consider as epsilon production. So what you can say is simple, that if an epsilon production is available, that means for reduction, because in example 1 only epsilon is there, right? Here example 1 only epsilon is there. There is in example 2 there is no epsilon. So whenever an epsilon is there in a grammar, so you have to think that how can you be use epsilon production for performing reduction process, that we have already seen in the first example. Okay, so that is, it means that, and the next point is that reduction occurs only when the resulting strings indeed a right sentential form. That means when reduction happens, for example, if I'm getting e plus n, then only I can perform reduction process, so that I can reduce to e. If I'm getting n only, then I can use reduction process in order to reduce to e. Okay, so reduction means complete right hand side, this e plus n should be there, or else only n should be there, then only I can use reduction, or else if only e is there, then only I can use reduction. So three things have to be there in this example. The first thing is what? Either if in a stack is only if e is there, or else if only n is there, or else if only e plus n is there. If the following the three cases are available in the stack, then only I can use reduction process. Okay, that is which we need to consider here. Then only reductions only occurs. Okay, and that example in the step 1 as well, that the what is that, here we am using this one, right? If you go with the fourth step, what happens here? Closing bracket is there. Closing bracket means here closing bracket doesn't constitutes to be a proper production right hand side value. So that's why what we have to consider is, you have to consider as an empty part in the stack. So this will be the empty, and you have to use reduction s of epsilon, so that you can take s here. So it all depends on the example. It depends that how you are going to take. It depends on the example. It depends on the set of productions. Okay, so based on that only we need to consider it here. Okay, so that is all it means about the overview of this bottom up parser. So generally what you can say in bottom up parser is that bottom up parser uses explicitly stack. Okay, what this stack performs is that the stack should contain at the end as a start symbol. Initially that stack will be empty, and it should contain at the end as a start symbol, and it uses input string. Along with that, it uses mainly both two actions, that is shift action and reduce action, apart from accept, which is the last action. So using this shift and reduce action, it will be going to perform the bottom up parser. That's why bottom up parser is sometimes called as shift reduce parser. And also it uses augmented grammar. You know what is augmented grammar means? The start symbol will be replaced with a new start symbol with the same name, but there is a difference that if s is the start symbol existing, a new start symbol will be s dash. Okay, so in that sense it has to be taken. Okay, this is regarding the overview. Okay, with this I conclude this session. Thank you.